Were there any other times during your incarceration you felt concerned?
I mean, that was a weird time. That incident there, that was one of the incidents that stuck in my mind, you know. And I think it can happen in them places you hear about people getting, and especially if you've got 60 odd of them, and like, bear in mind the jail's on lockdown now, and I'm stuck in there next to their little area that could get to us, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't make. I was in the best condition of my life, you know, physically wise, and like so the train. But I knew then and then I had no chance at all because there was just too many of them, you know.
In America now, you have to go to a rape class to get taught how not to get raped. It's ridiculous. You watch a video of some predators in the day room, and the young people coming in are hungry, and if they take any food or sweets from the predators, they're in debt. And it's like, all right, you owe us money now, pay this. Well, I've got no money. Well, we're going to fucking kill you unless you go and do the sex act with him. And that's how they manipulate people into that.
They'll put a Twix or Mars bar on your fucking pillow. I never fucking help. I must have been an ugly cunt.
So that's how you put all the weight on, is it?
I didn't get left one bar of fucking chocolate in 6.5 years. The fuckers. I had to buy mine and fucking run store. But the pretty boys would have a fucking Mars bar or a Twix left, and then once that's it, that was their ass. 6.5 years, not one fucking, not even half a Twix.
I wouldn't complain too much about it.
No, come on. Unless that's me a Twix.
What about hooch?
We used to go, like say, I can remember when it was my birthday and I was in Franklin jail and I was in the old buildings at the bottom. And one of the kid made with some hooch. And a few of the lads had spewed with it, which is only natural, you know. And the varnish what was on the floor, I'd been there for 30 years, and the next day I'd stripped it down. And you think, well, if that's doing that to the varnish and taking varnish off the ground, but you can't remove with a machine, what's it doing to your stomach? Yeah, but I'd got times we'd get like odd vodkas, you know, a bottle of vodka in different schools, you know.
Because in Arizona it's like almost 50 degrees, so the walls heat up. So if you put a bag next to the wall, it cooks the alcohol, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just get a load of oranges, some water, some yeast from the kitchen. You put it in a bag and then you put it like the ceiling with like tiles like this. You just lift it up, get on your bunk, put it in there. 3 days later, fucking done. Bring it down, stinks the whole pod out, bottle it, leave it a couple of days in the bottle just to fucking fizz up, you know what I mean? Burp it, if you forget to burp it, it just explodes. And then you're in trouble because you got the fucking... People aren't getting visits and all that because you just fucking blew the pod up with fucking hooch smelling everywhere. But you get good money for it. We used to get like fucking 3 tuners a bottle for that.
I think a lot of it, you know, likes made a lot of people bad as well.
Yeah.
It blew the heat off, but God knows what it done. If we can strip polish off the floor, you know, would have been lying there for 30 years.
Nasty.
What does it do to you?
Yeah, a lot of people have the shits on it.
We get blind on it. There's people getting blind on it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Especially if they would say someone.
Fucking hell.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A lot of the youngsters were fighting on it as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space nowadays in them jails now.
It's flooded, isn't it?
See, I've seen the videos, you know. And it's sad to see some of the states and the liberties.
They've got no respect, though, have they? I've seen one where the guy gets slapped for a bag of space.
Sad.
You know.
Sad, you know, if you're a family member, you wouldn't like to see when you're in a situation.
Oh, hell
you know.
no.
But I think a lot of them will give them a joint, you know, and I think it's a bit harsh, you know, and it's spicing before they knew it in a bad way.
People just fucking with people, aren't they, as well, telling them it's like just weed and shit, just to see them wig out.
Yeah, sad.
So, in your 10 stretch then, after the Cat A stuff, double Cat A stuff, where did they send you after all that? I
got released from a high security prison as a category. They reduced it from double category A to single category A.
Yeah.
Me and my 2 brothers, the 3 got released as category A prisoners from a dispersal prison with no rehabilitation whatsoever, you know. Just slung out on the street and that's it.
No probation?
Well, you get probation, but they work good to them, you know.
Yeah,
tell you what you should be doing. I say, well, you don't live by the rules, so what do you expect me to do, you know? Why shouldn't I have? Other people go to like category D prisons and that.
I was going to say, after 10 years, you think you'd worked your way down slowly, you know what I mean?
Well, I started off as a Cat B and I come out as a Cat A. So I did the opposite way.
Did you feel a bit institutionalised after doing that one?
You could do like that length of time, you know. I still seem like I need time by myself sometimes, and I say to the wall, I need to be by myself sometimes, you know. Yeah. Just, it's 15 months in one sitting by yourself, a long time, you know. Yeah, definitely. And I had a few years behind the door when I was in Franklin because I never had a job. So, but that's a life. If you meet your bed, you can take the line, you know, and you kind of sit there and complain, and look, I've been a criminal and I've done this and I've done that, and I've been treated harshly. It comes with the time. There's no you can't do about it. Not a thing, you know.
I used to get into books, me. I used to get the biggest, thickest book, like James Clavell books with like 1,300 pages, and just get into that. But you'd end up, after a while, being able to read one of them in a fucking week, you know what I mean? Now that'd last me a fucking year.
I'll be honest, when I went to jail, I couldn't read or write, you know, proper. So I started doing a bit of reading. I learned in jail. I read a book by John Grisham, One of Your Jury, and I thought it was excellent. I got halfway through it. And somebody had stolen half the pages.
That's fucked up.
So the next one I checked through, and it was still 2 or 3 pages missing. I didn't realise it to the end. So I give up on reading books after that. I thought, right.
You used to get people to just take the back pages, man. That's like taking a piece after the fucking jigsaw, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just to fuck with people. Mm-hmm. People had syringes in them, blades and everything, don't they?
Yeah.
You see guys working out with library, with books from the library because you can't have weights. Aye. So they got like sweaters or they got mop buckets full of water.
It's amazing what people can do, improvise, you know, in prison, you know, people do that. And it happens, you know.
There's so much wasted talent in prison.
They should use the time better, you know. I mean, they brought some industry in the prison, let the people work and send the money out to the family, and they wouldn't have to bounce off the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them do some use while they're there, generate some money.
Did you get paid to do your work in prison? Because I know only get 10 to 50 cents an hour to do these little jobs.
Yeah, you got like a tenner for cleaning, and you could get 15 quid, and you enhanced.
Yeah.
And then he hustles, you had can on, you know, you get a bit off that, so you bought a bit of food with, you know.
Yeah.
Got your snout.
Yeah.
What extra food could you buy?
Legs of lamb, steak. Because it was in the canteen, I say, like long-term prisoners are allowed to buy these sort of things, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of things you would buy. What you couldn't have was what you couldn't have. You made they say you wanted to, you know.
Yeah.
And I was a good cook, you know. So I cooked a good Indians. I made cook a bit of chicken masala, tandoori chicken masala, a tandoori chicken leg, bit of chicken tikka, chicken kurma, and a madras on the side with pilau rice, a bit of salad, and a bit, and maybe a chapati. And I always could put it down in front of this gun. Come look, can you go and get it up the gaze? Look at that again. I forgot to go on the fucking beans on Tuesday. It's fucking pricey, that's why.
Suppose you got most of the spices from the kitchen as well.
Yeah, you could buy anything you wanted. Yeah, anything. Like, there was a big list of spices you could order, you know. For you make like on a Saturday, everybody lads would have a full English, you know. That's something to look forward to.
Nice, that like.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was good getting them fucking stotties every day for working in the kitchen. You know?
Were there any situations where you had to have a prison weapon?
Aye, then. Of course it was. You can have incidents like that, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously I had like 1 or 2 incidents, you know?
It's always good to know where the shanks are buried.
Well, I suppose in them long-term prisons, you know, if you've got a Vic, you kind of can't turn up by yourself because the man, he may have a couple of friends and they're going to be tooled up.
Yeah.
So before you know, you've got a confrontation.
Because usually if someone has a beef where we were at, 2 guys, they just have a fight in the cell with the fists, beef is squashed, see him having a hug at the end of it, having a smoke, and that's that. Mm-hmm. But you get the odd person, don't you, who wants to come back.
Depends how personal it was, what the beef was. If it's just like a disrespect, like he's fucking looking at me and you've had a bad day, you know what I mean?
It happens, you know yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, people serve time in prison and they get a lot on their mind and somebody can look at them in their own way. They can have a bad phone call, bad visit, bad letter.
And then it could be a bit more where, like, you know, for a fact someone's just come in and they've ratted on you and you've got paperwork on them and you want to do a bit more, just smashing it, don't you?
No, well, that happens, that does happen, you know, quite often, you know. And to be honest, rightly so.
Rightly so, yeah.
Rightly so, you know.
As long as you show the paperwork. The one thing I didn't like is just seeing a couple of people get smashed for no reason because they didn't have the paperwork on them.
See, prison, you know, it's not a nice place, and like it or not, it is survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to take care of yourself.
You should be able to have like 4 days to show your paperwork, though.
It doesn't matter if you were, like, say, reputation or what, I suppose. If you
unless they've ratted on you personally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if the name's attached to something what's bad, you put somebody in the jail.
Yeah.
Rightly so, you got served up, you know, and that happened regular.
They deserve it,
I've seen plenty of that, you know.
Have you got any stories of things that you saw people get brutalised?
I've seen a lot of things. Like, say, I was in the prison, I was in the cell, like, say, I was on the way to reception one morning, And when I get there, reception's full. And reception are always places where people meet for the legs off different wings, and there's confrontation, there's trouble. So a fight breaks out, and this geezer lifts us and turns his and puts his back towards the fight. It was Raoul Moat. Raoul was getting released out of prison that morning. Very unhappy.
Let's explain who he is to people.
Raoul Moat was a lad who, for various reasons, I don't want to go into because I spoke to him at length that morning. He was very unhappy by no from the police, you know. One certain police officer was giving him his life in misery. I think he was a victim, me myself, you know. They portray him as a bad lad and all that. The man persecuted him. He took vehicles off him. He's seen his wife, once somebody seen his wife had run away with a police officer and all that, you know. So the kid was unhappy. You know. And that morning, when all the schools were breaking the trouble up, we went in the little holding room. I spent 20 minutes talking to him. He went from there that day. He shot the geezer dead outside the house. He shot the police officer. And unfortunately got shot dead himself, you know. Got shot in the head with one of them rubber bullets, you know.
Because it was all over the news. I think that was when I got back to this country. What year was that? Do you remember? Did you see that? It was like a manhunt.
8 or something.
I missed that. I was still over there, wasn't I?
About 8 was it, or 7 or 8 or something?
About 10 years ago almost, was it?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I got back at 09, me.
09, that's right, yeah.
What they don't mention is that, like, say, the misery what that police officer give Raoul, you know.
Yeah.
And then, like, say, the media will have you believe that, like, say, this wild, crazy person. No, he was provoked. He was provoked, and you know. And I believe the kid was a victim.
Yeah.
Although
Just like there's other victims there. There's other victims involved, but he was also a victim, you know.
The media always side with the police, don't they? No matter what.
Yes.
Yeah, and fucking push it
I mean,
an
it was sad,
narrative.
you know, what happened to me, and as far as I'm concerned, that kid may rest in peace, you know.
Yeah. Did you mix with any or meet any high-profile people in prison or come across?
Of course I did, because birds of a feather flock together, mixed with them all.
Any big names?
I was one.
Any other big names?
Yeah, plenty of big names, but I don't want to start nail dropping in, yeah. One day I came back from work and I saw the gym in the school, says, Stephen's a celebrity waiting outside your door to see you.
Your brother?
It was old Charlie Kray.
Charlie Kray.
I Stephen, he says, I need to see you. He says, your name's been repeatedly mentioned for me court case. And he says, I've got to come to get a heads up on it, you know. So he tells us, he says, what happened? He says, he makes me to see these two people in this flash wine boy. He says, I get there. He says, all Saints have got a record contract. Spice Girls have got #1. He says, the place was bouncing champagne all over. Them had no connection. But Charlie, he says, but he was telling us much where the party atmosphere was in the place. And he says, these two people come in to talk to him. He says, Charlie says, Stephen, I was going to serve them 2 kilos of cocaine. He says, so when they come in, I'm talking, to my surprise, there were 2 Geordies. He says, the conversation just turned a bit stale. He says, and I looked at him and he says, no one, do you know the Sears brothers? He says, I'll never get the look on their face, they were very sheepish. He says, yes, we know them. He says, can you ask me to get in touch with old Charlie? He says, that was the start of it. And a friend of mine who I used to look after I was like his guardian angel in a sense, and I went to prison and he'd done his own thing. He ended up getting assassinated at a later time, and he was connected with him, you know. So that's how my name got repeatedly mentioned in his court case, you know.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What about Bronson? Any stories about him?
I know the man, and I speak highly of the man, but I've never met the man. My good friend Stevie Rafe knows him very well, you know.
Yeah.
He put a forward to me book, and I've got a lot of time for the man, and I've got a lot of respect for him.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Just let's say the name of that book again for people watching this.
The book's called Tried and Tested by the Sears. You can get on www.thesears.co.uk.
So if you want to check that out in his book, it's in the description box below this video. What about like high-profile serial killers, anything like that, or any?
I met a lovely geezer, Harold Shipman.
Shipman.
I met Harry.
Harry.
I was in the doctors, and I discovered I was asthmatic when I was in prison. So they take us down for different tests. And I see them walking in the thing, and different people will come talking to us, and they come to me, Mr. Sears, can I word with you? Is there any chance you could use your influence and try and get us on the wing? So I thought, oh, why not? Could do it, doctor. So I say to the governor, is there any chance of Harold Shipman coming on the wing? He thought it was a joke. I said, what's the matter? I said, you put all the motors in one side, man. He said, can't you, man? He's the next person. They weren't having it. They weren't having it, you know.
So when you finished this 10 stretch, what did you do with yourself then?
Came with various things, you know. Got myself a pub. Tried that for a short while.
He's trying to settle down.
No, well, what happened is I had a bar. I had my name as connection. I was getting a wage out of a bar. And a rival criminal, a man called Paddy Conroy, decided to go and get a junkie to go and hide some smack and crack in my bar, you know, and get it raided. And that's why he did. And I thought, when it come to stage like this, and you've got like so-called criminals planting drugs on you and getting you arrested, I thought it's time to get out of this before. Lucky enough, the kid who gave the gear, he consumed it. Otherwise, I would have been nicked. You know.
Yeah.
Paddy Conroy went through a stage for over 20 years calling everybody and anybody a police informer, solely to deflect attention away from his low life activities. And it got so bad in Newcastle that when a police informer calls an innocent man a grass to deflect attention away from his company known as doing a Paddy Conroy, or shortly, he's doing a Conroy.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen he's got one? You hear it all the time. He's a grass. And it's usually the grass who's calling people.
Exactly,
and they've actually put a term to it now. And that's what it is. He's doing a Conroy. When you have a grass, you're calling it a man of grass.
Wow. He must have a bad name for doing that then. You know what I mean?
Stinks worse in the public toilet, his name.
Is he dead now, Paddy?
A shameful one. Sorry to say this. No.
He's still walking around.
The langtail's still crawling around. Scurrying around the place, you know.
Wow.
He'll get his.
Wow. So you decided not to go into that business then? What did you do next?
I came out of that business. Spent a couple of years wondering what I was actually going to do, you know. Didn't want to come back into the crime thing. Then I was given a lot of thought about writing a book. I taught me good parts of the WWF. Spoke to a few different other people, and Paul Ferris and all that, you know. Paul was saying, Steve, now give it a go. Give it a go, you know. So we ended up writing a book. The book became a bestseller. Surprisingly, I've never like say, read a book. I've read parts of a book, but I've never read a full book, you know. What I done was I got my daughter, Rebecca, I tell her the story, and she wrote it down for us, you know, and that's how it came about. Since then, we've getting a double BAFTA winner, Gary Fraser from Scotland. He got a BAFTA for train spotting. He's came on board, and the book's going to be turned into a film.
Brilliant, and congratulations.
We're doing the trailer in March. It goes out for funding, and we hope to be hitting the big screen sometime next year, you know.
Phenomenal.
I try, but it's like anything else, you know. I believe, in a sense, I'm still getting the money out of crime of doing a film about crime. So what I want to do is, hopefully, if it's successful enough, I want to give some of the proceeds to the victims of crime, you know, some charity. And I think it's only right and fitting, you know, I do something like that.
Yeah, it's good karma as well, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, I can't just sit there and get them. It's still getting the money out of crime, you know. Now, them days have passed for me, you know.
I was innocent, by the way. I've got a charity.
So I was innocent. My mum will tell you. My mum will tell you if she was here. God love her. But I wouldn't melt me mouth.
Did your brothers manage to turn himself around?
It's not for me to say what my brothers do, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good about their own life, you know. They're trying to live a law-abiding life, unfortunately. You know, from your police, we're not lower. As I said earlier, not because we're the worst. It's because we're not about them or give them any money or information. And as I say, I'll say it again, I've said it before, don't think the police are the most corrupt police force in the country.
Definitely.
Is there a lot of brothers from where you're from? Is there like lots of families with brothers?
The deep breed up north east, you know. Course is like anywhere else, you know. You got big families in different places, you know.
Yeah.
West End, I was Elsick. We're always stuck together when we're younger, you know. We're very clannish. I suppose in the sense that Sears name was a figurehead of the West End. That's why, unfortunately, today, when there's crime committed, our name gets attached to it. So, like I said, 99% of the crime that's been committed, even though they say the Sears, it's not a thing they want to do, you know.
Yeah.
And plus, we're not criminals anymore, so the chances of it being anything at all, that's why it's not.
There's up north a lot of like the big family names, brothers. They tend to be friends. They tend to stick together.
Some do, some don't, you know. So it just depends what sort of person you are, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we've still got, like I said, plenty of friends, you know, plenty of big family, plenty of friends. We're well respected, you know, and rightly so.
Was there a turning point then where you thought, that's it, I'm just absolutely never going to go back to crime?
It was my mum, God love her. May she rest in peace. She was the one who likes to say to my Steve Noah. And people don't understand this, you know. It's actually harder to be a criminal than it is to be a businessman. And you know, and you sit there because what you've got to lose, you can always lose. If you lose a few quid, you can always get a few quid. You can't get your liberty back unless you escape. Apart from that, you know. But you know that a businessman, you know, if you keep making a success at crime, you'll definitely progress in the life of business.
You're always watching your back, aren't you? And you keep on with
Yeah. I've been asked a couple of times, Stephen, you're going to be in the shop window with your film. Is any idea what you would like to do afterwards? And I'm thinking about opening a security consultancy, you know. I suppose if you show us your premises, I can show you your weaknesses, you know. I can show you how you'll be had, you know.
Yeah.
Do you want a can?
No, I'll have a vodka, mate.
You want a can?
No, all good, thank you.
Yeah, talk about your mum then. My mum flew 5,000 miles to visit me. I had to get, you know, all these searches and sniffer dogs and wait for hours in the heat. When I first saw her in the visitation room, just sat there, you know, just my face all sad and looking like I'd aged her.
Aye.
And you know, just I speak to the school kids now and I tell them that and I say, look, I can still see the hurt and pain on my parents' faces that have caused them.
It does.
At the time as you doing the crime, when we were selling and collecting and all that, we didn't have a care in the world, did we? The money was coming in, nice birds, nice cars, and it's like everything's going good. You feel almost untouchable. You feel like no one's going to get you.
It's not until you get older you realise your right from wrongs, you know.
Yeah.
Like the moment no one, I mean, I'm trying to go into prisons to talk to some young'uns, you know, I'm trying to do some good. I've talked to my big pal, Brian Cockle, he's prepared to come with us, and Paul Ferris, you know.
Brilliant.
We're considering going in, if I can get in the door, like, talk to the young offenders, maybe do some good, you know, talk them out of the life of crime.
Well, they definitely listen to you. You've been through it, haven't you? I don't know, you get these people go to prison and they do talks, but they've never been in crime. So what do they right wrong? You know what I mean?
Where are you going to, if you would get a footballer, to somebody who was about football, educate them, you get a singer, a musician to talk to young kids, yeah? So why can't you get a criminal to talk to criminals? It makes sense, doesn't it? People might say it's immoral, can it nip in, put money in it. But if it works, it's got to be done.